Hello and welcome to my show on InView TV. Sorry about the late start today. A few technical difficulties up at the Bend Motorsport Park in South Australia. Got that fixed just in time. So thank you for waiting around and thank you for joining the show. Today I'm excited to have a guest that some of you know from being a drag racer or a drag racing promoter and now a driver of a Batmobile of all things, Rino D'Alfonso. He's up at the Bend Motorsport Park in South Australia. He's doing his things, promoting, bringing all these passions together. So without further ado, let's bring Rino on and learn a bit more about him.
Holy heatwave, Batman.
It is warm.
Rino D'Alfonso had one of those defining marital moments.
I said to my wife, I said, look, it's either a Lamborghini or I'm going to buy a Batmobile. And she said, no, you've got to have the Batmobile. It's what our brand of our business does.
Yes, it's a shameless promotion for his play centres, obviously a bit of dough in them, enough to make Adelaide's only road-registered Batmobile a reality. This bit of feel-good fantasy on the freeway is actually a Caped Commodore.
And it's like a Holden Commodore V8 with the interior, the way that it was built and the running gear.
The rest is pure superhero.
I do not get in this car without being dressed. It's just, yeah, like it was really funny. I went over to the servo and filled up and I had my mask on and I actually walked up to the lieutenant and apologised, said, look, I'm really sorry I'm wearing a mask. She goes, no, don't worry, you've made my day.
Hang on. That's plastic.
No.
It's not plastic.
It's bulletproof. Kevlar.
Magic, right? It did enable birthday boy Alex to leave his wheelchair behind for a precious moment.
And then we drove past him really slow and his dad's going, oh, wouldn't you like to go for a drive in that? And just see it in his face. His mouth just went from smiling happy, next minute it was just like, oh, it was flabbergasting. It was great.
Tinder in 7 years.
Rino D'Alfonso, welcome to my show on InView TV.
Thank you, appreciate it, and that just brought back a lot of memories.
All good ones, I hope.
Yeah. With COVID, it's been a while.
So Rino, before we get into what you're doing there at the Bend Motorsport Park in South Australia today, tell the viewers a bit about you. Tell us about Rino D'Alfonso, the person.
All right, guess family man of 3 kids. Have a really bad passion for drag racing. Drag racing is sort of almost inbred into me for many, many years. And you know, like it was one of those things that when we lost it here, I was in the process of building a car, and I said, nah, I'm not going to have this. So I kept doing the best I could do to get it to happen at Adelaide Raceway, and finally got it to happen, and in play for 4 years, and just never stopped really from there. It comes back to promoting and running the sport as a whole, and I've had the opportunity now to be able to bring it back to the Bend Motorsport Park, and hopefully promote it the right way so we can get a first-class drag strip here in South Australia, and then continue the series and run a series, you know, through Sydney, Queensland, Perth, Adelaide, Victoria. We'd love to be able to do that, and obviously it just takes someone to right now in South Australia to get it to happen.
All right, so before we jump to that, just back to you. You were a racer. Saw a film clip there. It looked like a top door slammer. So how long did you race for, and what sort of cars did you race yourself?
Well, believe it or not, it started off with a super street car. We ran a super street car for, I'd have to say about 2 years. 308, just a you know, with believe it or not, Aussie 4-speed in it, and I was sick of destroying the gearbox, so we went to an automatic, and ever since then we pulled the gearbox motor out. Of course, it goes to a 355 stroker back then, and we started running some good times. You know, it was 1090, I think I got in the car, and then I started to hurt the Commodore, and I didn't want to do that because I spent so much money making it look like a show car. So I said, you know what, time to step up. We ended up building, I started with a VS utility, and by the time I'd already had the Walker chassis getting built, the chassis for me, by the time we ended up building that, I'm not kidding you, like it took that many years that it was already up to the VU utility, which was the later model one, and I obviously saw that and thought, oh yeah, we've got to do that. So I ended up taking the old body off and putting the new Ute body on, and during this time was when the racing was just completely stopped, and that's where that started. So we built that car, and I had it to a turnkey pretty much, and it just got to a point where I just said, nah, that's it, you know, we're not going to have racing, we're going to sell it. And I ended up selling it to a gentleman by the name of Donald Friend, which still, to this day, I'm pretty sure still has that car. And it's been a national thing in Western Australia. I think it won quite a few times. Yeah, I obviously got the racing going again, and I thought, you know what, I'm a racer, I want a car. And it was during that time that Brett Stevens had the auction, and all the cars were getting sold off, and we ended up buying Cat Stevens' door slammer. I'm a bit of a Holden head and didn't really like the Ford, but at the time it was one of those rivalry things, and we ended up getting the body changed over, and I put the latest model Holden Commodore HSV on it. And as you saw, it's a pretty car, it's a beautiful car. Like I said, it brought back some serious memories. But going from a super street car, really, I didn't get to jump in the supercharged outlaw car, which I built for Donald, to jump straight from that, from a pretty much a 10-second car to a 7-second car for me, because that's how quick I was going in it, is crazy. Like, there's just, you can't comprehend. And people go to me, what does it feel like when you release the clutch and drop and put the pedal to the metal? I said, mate, lay it on the ground and I'll jump on your chest. And that's what it feels like. It's awesome, and there's nothing like drag racing, whether you're watching it or whether you're driving it. It's either in your passion and you love it. So yeah, it's great.
And then so much so it's in your passion that you thought, well, not only going to be a driver and a racer, but I want to be a promoter. I want to manage a track, and you managed Adelaide International Raceway, I think 2011 to 2014, if I'm right. So, and very popular what you did there. Did it with a lot of passion. Yes. Various reasons, it came to an end. But that didn't stop you with your passion of drag racing. Took a bit of a side thing, and now a Batmobile driver. How did that come about?
Yeah, well, obviously we were the drag racing side of things finished at the raceway, at Adelaide Raceway, and my wife was still in the background, still doing the work with children and stuff like that, and we've got 3 kids of our own, and with those 3 kids, they used to take them to play centre, and the wife was sort of saying, you know, like, it's pretty awful, this play centre, like we're going to, it's really dirty and filthy, and I said, well, if that's what you want to do, let's do something, you know, and we ended up building a children's play centre, and from those play centres, we've now got 3 of them. We don't actually own them. There's owners in each one of those play centres, and I just own the brand. And then from there, we started doing a lot of stuff with the guys that are in the industry of play gyms and stuff like that. And one of the biggest parts of it is children's birthday parties, and they like to have characters at their parties. So we, obviously myself as Batman, started doing these children's parties, and one thing led to another, and 4 years later I ended up buying the Bat car. We had the option, we sold our businesses, we had the option to go out and buy, you know, which I really wanted. I always wanted a Lamborghini. I said I'm always going to have one day, and we had that opportunity to buy one of those, and then, believe it or not, a good friend of mine sent me a text with this picture of his Batmobile with for sale on it, and I thought, good on you, you just made me spend more money. So we ended up buying the Batmobile. I left the Lambo. I said, no, I'm going to do this for the kids, and ever since then we've been running this car to birthday parties and different events, and believe it or not, I don't charge for those events. It's all for the charities, you know what I mean? Like, it's They go to me, some people go, oh look, we've got to pay you for your petrol or something. I say, don't worry about it, mate, just put the money into the charity that you're here for or I choose. And they end up paying that, and that's how I get paid. It's not about the money with that car, it's not about the money with Batman, it's about making sure that those kids that we go and see have that, like you saw with Alex. You know, awesome. You can't buy that. It's just something you want to do, and one of the biggest things for me now is going through the Women's and Children's Hospital, and I go there with Spider-Man and Iron Man, and us three. We go through all the wards, and it's just breathtaking. Yeah, you get to see so many children that sometimes you hate to say it, aren't going to make it through the year. And you know, the parents of the superheroes there. There's not even a way to say it. Yeah, so that's how that happened. Sorry, Bruce. Yep.
Seems to me whatever you do, Reno, you do it with a lot of passion. It's not something that you get in and think, oh, I'm going to do this because I have to do it. You take on things that you're passionate about, hence why you do it good, and hence why you enjoy it. Now that leads us to today. You're at the Bend Motorsport Park in South Australia. There's supercar events happening over the weekend and next weekend, and you're now managing a drag racing display in conjunction with IHRA Australia. Tell us about that and how that came about.
Yeah, well, obviously, well, not really obviously because no one really knew. I've always, in the background, always wanted to run drag racing still. Even though we're not running at Adelaide Raceway, I always said that I will run drag racing again. It's not going to stop me. Whether I'm doing it as a promoter or whether I'm doing it as even a manager, that's the role I will take for the sport. And whether it is, you know, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I feel SA Drag Racing needs someone to take it by the horns and go. That's what I did years ago because everyone had that opportunity to do it, but yet they didn't. I did, and I'm going to put a ticket on myself there. But at the same time, I'm doing it again now, and if it means that we can bring drag racing to a Group 1 facility, and I mean by that, like, I worked with an E-class facility, and I'm now going to be working, if I can, with an A-class facility. And to give that to these guys, these racers, so well deserved, because, mate, their cars, and I don't know if you've seen it through my Facebook, but their cars out here are impeccable. And this is only a handful, not even a handful of cars that South Australia has. So if we need someone to take it by the horns, I'll do it. But I've always said, if someone wants to do what I'm doing, I'll go racing myself. Take it, but do it properly. If you're going to do it properly. That's all I say, you know, and that's all that really needs to be said. But Sam Shaheen and Yasser Shaheen have absolutely put so much money and effort into this venue that I believe we will have a first-class drag strip here. And they both said it to me last night. We had a dinner. They both said it to me. We will have it here.
They are planning one, and we all know that. It's been in the media. There's a plan for a drag racing strip, and we all understand if you're going to build a drag racing strip today, you build it to world standards, if it doesn't exceed everything else, because why would you build a drag strip and not make it one of the latest and greatest? So first of all, they definitely are building a drag strip, are they? And if so, when?
Okay, that I can't answer the when side, and I'll be rude to say it because I do not want to step on anyone's toes with their announcement, because their announcement is their announcement. I can tell you that I know for sure that they're definitely building a drag strip here, but when, we don't know, because I'm not going to step on their toes. This means for the SA drag racing community and the drag racing community that we're going to have probably one of the best drag strips in Australia. And I can't say it enough to you. If you see the way the Bend Motorsport Park is, you'll understand their calibre. Their calibre is up way beyond, and they've got the trophies to say they're the best. They are one of the best tracks in the world. So yeah, look, I'd love to be able to say that I know exactly, but I don't.
And I understand that. I guess putting a date on it's pretty hard. But can you give us an idea? Is it like 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? Is there any sort of indication?
From what I reckon, and this is my purity, I reckon you'd have it within 12 months.
Okay.
The way these guys build stuff, and I'm going off, and seriously, I'm going off what they've got as infrastructure in South Australia. I think they've got 200 or 220 on the run stores, and when you see them as dirt, within 3 months there's a service station there. I guess it's all about timing for them and making sure, because it's not only about that drag strip. They've got a $200 million motor complex they've got to run.
Sure.
So the way I sit back and look at it is when they do it, it'll get done, and it'll get done fast. There's no doubt.
So if you're saying 12, possibly within 12 months, I'm going to say 24, just given the way the world is and give everyone a bit more time. So let's say there's a drag strip ready to go in 24 months' time. Sounds like you've still got an interest to be a part of running that.
100%. Yep, 100%. There's no two way about it. I'll put my hand up and run it for them if they need to, and even if they run, because I can tell you now, and I know it for sure, this place will not be running, and I know that because they've said it to us all. It will not run under one sanction. It will not run under one sanction. They are like you can go out now and you can lease the track. You can lease the track under any sanction that's out there that will allow you to run that style of vehicle. I think it's a great thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all, because it's about the sport. In the end, the sport's bigger than us all, and if we can have that facility built here because of it, then that's what's going to happen.
I guess we've seen that a bit with Heathcote. Not that they're saying they're going to be a multi-sanctioned track, but what they are saying is they will run events under IHRA Australia, and some events they won't, and that might be a dry high with no sanctioning, or sanctioning through ANDRA, or whatever they're thinking about. But yes, I guess venues are now looking at being multi-sanctioned or running events under a different sanctioning altogether, which I guess we need to be flexible in these times, especially while we've got two sanctioning bodies out there managing the sports on different perspectives. It only makes sense that some events be sanctioned by one and some perhaps by another.
Yes, agree. I agree.
Well, that's a good way of bringing the sport together because of this current split, and with the idea that we're going to get back to one sanctioning body. It doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. So the fact that the track is looking at using potentially a couple of sanctioning bodies, then I think there's a good approach to go forward.
As businessmen as they are, they would definitely be looking at it that way, because obviously you don't want to take that chance where one, and I'm not being funny, one could fold, and next minute you've got that sanction and you can't run anybody else. So, but I do honestly say, if you need to run the Group 1 racing, the only way that you're going to run that Group 1 racing is through IHRA. The way I picked it, the way I see it, and this is going back from when I ran drag racing in Adelaide, unless you have that brain there, it's going to be very, very hard to get that style of racing here. But don't forget, drag racing starts at the grassroots. It starts with those street cars that will come out and race. And if you can't have those guys at start, you're in trouble. And that's another thing. When I sat away and I was away from drag racing for about 4 years, okay, and I did play centres. But the way I see it is, if we can incorporate them together, because where is our future? It's our children. Our children. Let's bring them into this sport, and how are we going to bring them there? Maybe build play centres at these tracks where it gives them a spot for mum to take their children while the dads are out having a race. But I'm not saying the women can't come out there and race too, but at least with the children there, you give them something away from drag racing that they can go do, and then if it has a big screen inside the place, they could have a watch there. They could be watching dad racing, you know, and it's very critical that we be looking at that stuff, because if we don't, it's going to affect the way drag racing is. It really will, because family life now gets very busy, and as I know, I've got 3 children of my own, and my wife has to go to basketball and then calisthenics and blah blah blah. And that's what we need to look at. We need to look at that. And it's one thing that I've got a passion with, is making sure that if we can incorporate stuff to make this work for everybody, then we should be doing it.
Yeah, that's a great point. I know you've said that before about bringing it together, bringing the kids thing, bringing the Batman thing, bringing the drag racing, making it a whole family thing. Some of the kids on the hill may not be interested in the drag racing, but they love just coming to see the Batmobile and all those sorts of things. So combining all that is a great way to go. Look, won't keep you much longer. Just to finish off, Reno, any message you want to give to the drag racing fans out in Australia or around the world about racing on, yourself and the sport in general?
much thanks for their support. It's been unbelievable. I haven't had Racing On running for a little while, and I put the post up to say that we're doing this event. And I had just over 12,000 views within 24 hours on that post. And I just sat back and went, wow, well received. And then without really having to make phone calls, I had people ringing me saying, can we put our car on display? Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. And there was certain, I just had to stop it. I had 13 cars in 24 hours. And that was very, very simple. It wasn't hard. And sorry, I'm forgetting about the bikes. Some of these bikes, oh mate, you see the bikes here, crazy. And that, again, it's only like a handful. So for the whole community of drag racing, especially South Australia, thank you. The drag racers all over the country that I've met throughout drag racing, I can't thank you guys enough either, because I'm pretty sure that if I ran an event again, I'd have your full support. I'm almost positive. There's going to be some that you get your haters, and that's standard throughout anything we do. I don't live in the past. I live about today. And today is, we're going to get this to happen and make it so we can get this national series happening again. That's where I'm going to be.
Brilliant. Look, thanks Reno. Thanks for coming on my show on InView TV. I do believe you have a lot of supporters out there. They love what you've done in the past. They love what you're doing now. And I'm sure they'd get behind you in the future. So good luck with it. Let's get the drag strip at the Bend up and running in 12 to 24 months. That'd be great for the whole sport in general. And I look forward to going out there and seeing that first meeting. Thanks Reno.
Thanks
for your time. Enjoy the rest of the weekend and next weekend. Hope the display goes well.
Thank you very much for your support. Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate it.
Rino D'Alfonso there from Racing On Promotions, doing another great job. He's out there at the Bend Motorsport Park promoting drag racing, promoting his Batman stuff. And as always, I find with Reno, he just loves the sport as a whole, so passionate about it. He wants to see you go forward. Not interested in division, just interested in going forward and promoting the whole sport. Thank you for being on my show today. Enjoyed with Reno. I'll be back soon, not sure, probably next week's time. The guest lineup could be anyone from another person in drag racing to who knows where across the planet. Thanks for being on my show. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Bye.